Greetings, family. Hope you're having a nice one. Let's talk. Let's vibe. Let's gist. Today we're going to talk about what it means to be humble. What is the meaning of humility? A lot of people say it's good to be humble. But when exactly is there a difference between humility and stupidity? We need to address it. Humility can be taken for stupidity when it has gotten to the point of oppression. Anything you're doing in this life, it's good to have manners, it's good to be obedient, it's good to be humble, it's good to be nice, it's good to be a good person. But when some control freaks who cannot focus on their own self try to want to ride you, when is it okay for you to say, okay, there's a difference between humility and stupidity? When is it okay? Is it when the person's personal space is being encroached? Is it when the person's personal space is being, like the person don't have privacy anymore? Is it because the person controlling knows what's best for you? Is it out of love? Is it out of greed? Is it out of desperation? What exactly is it out of? I can't say how it is in every situation, but what I can say is this. One thing I find common with oppression is that over time, people who are being oppressed forget that they are being oppressed. And they begin to go with the flow. Because sometimes going with the flow is easier. Let's be frank, let's be honest. Not everybody has that backbone to stand their ground and say no. Yeah, I know what you're saying, but no. Not caring if people will tag them rude, proud, disrespectful. That's the thing. People's definition of you shouldn't matter. All that should matter is your definition of yourself, how you see yourself, who you know yourself to be. Because people will always talk. Can you stop everybody from talking? And if you check them, most times, what they're even talking about, they lack the accurate knowledge they should possess. In the story of Jesus Christ's death, while he was dying, he said, "Forgive them because they know not what they do." I don't believe in that story, but I know it's deeper than just a story. Even after being wronged, even after being killed, even after being crucified, he still had a forgiving heart. Or forgive them because they know not what they do. If everybody is trying to emulate that, why can't we forgive freely? Why can't we overlook our own imperfections? Why do we tend to blow our own issues out of proportion? We are already under attack. We don't need to attack ourselves too. It gets to a certain level where we need to now begin to show that maturity. The load is on you to show the maturity, because guess what? Not everybody is aware of what's really going on around them. Some people, until there is a nationwide announcement that there's no movement, they won't know things are going the way they are going. Why? because they've been programmed not to care. Not because they don't see the suffering, or they've just been programmed not to care. Oh, I don't want to get into political issues. Oh, I don't want to talk about this. Oh, I don't want to. If you don't address it, who will? If you don't fix it, who will? There's a difference between humility and stupidity. If you don't stand up for yourself, you will never know how strong you are. If you don't speak up for yourself, you will never know how strong your voice can be. If you don't make the decision to say, hey, I know I can't change the opinion of everybody in the world, but in the right time, when it's convenient for me, I will express myself. You should at least have the decency, the confidence to express yourself. Only slavery will not allow someone to express his or herself. Only slavery involves excessive control. What do we see in the world we live in today? The schools trying to control. Make sure you get this right so that when you grow up, you get a job. That ship has sailed, man. But guess what? They are still selling the same things to kids today. Everybody want to go to school. But when they come out, everybody want to act confused. If there is no platform, there is no platform. Somebody has to fix it. You cannot fix anything out of you until you start fixing yourself. That's how it works. So we need to build knowledge to the point where we know what we do not condone. Because a man who lacks identity, a man who lacks knowledge of self, a man who doesn't know who he is, he can't stand for anything because he doesn't know who he is. So who are you? Where are you from? Originally, I'm not talking about your state of birth or your place of origin. I'm asking deeper questions that only your soul has answers to. The question is, have you sat down with your soul long enough to hear these answers? If you haven't, then I would understand why you think humility is protection. You think there is courage in tolerance. Somebody can tolerate and tolerate and tolerate and die from tolerating. Listen, the world we live in requires your effort. The world we live in requires your brain power. You need to think for yourself. Stop following rules blindly. People who set many of these things don't love you. I'm sure you can see that. So make a decision today. Make a decision. To be humble, yes. But first, be humble to self. And that self involves what produces self. What produces self? Will your body be here today if it wasn't for your parents? They met, they produced you. Two parents met again, they produced them. Other parents met again, they produced them. Then why don't you want to now honor that lineage that you are representing on this planet right now? If not for them, you will not be here. If not for your ancestors, you will not be here. Both physically, any kind of Kali you want to put it. Respect those that come before you. That's law. But some way, somehow, you've been convinced that people who came before you are demonic. And you've been convinced that you have to beg to get what you want. And you cannot beg on your own. You have to beg through someone, a particular person that has been selected by God. Yeah. Are you seeing how humility becomes stupidity? How people are being led like sheep to slaughter. How people's rights are being sold and they don't know they're selling their rights. how people are being misled that they don't know they're being misled. It's not for me to tell you what is best for you, but it is for me to tell you what is best for me, that has worked for me. I'm sharing it. Because from the abundance of your cup, that's where you give others. I can't pour into your cup when my cup is empty. So I'm actually trying to pour into your cup, and I hope that this pour I'm pouring is entering. It's not like I'm pouring water inside basket. Listen, your ancestors love you. Don't let all those things you see in Nigerian movie confuse you. Don't be scared of it. It is your thing. It's just like you're scared of your own power. How can you learn? How can you grow with it? How can you remember? How can you ascend? Journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step. It don't matter if it's one step in 1 month or one step in 1 year. Everybody does not on the same pace. That's why we get different lane. Day your lane, I day my lane. But guess what? We grow. And when we grow mentally, it begins to reflect physically. Because then we start to do the right things. And the spirits of our ancestors will begin to guide us. They're there waiting for you just to recognize them so they can bless you with wisdom, give you what you need. Whatever it is. But you have to connect with them. First of all, you have to know that it's not demonic. And you need to stay away from this group thinking mentality. It's okay for you to be the only one on your journey. It's not for crowd. What does the Bible tell you about crowd? Say, broad and wide is the road leading to destruction, and many are the ones walking in it. But crooked and narrow is the path leading to everlasting life, and few are the ones finding it. It's crooked, it's narrow, it's for just one man at a time. Carry yourself. Only you. When you've helped yourself, then you can help those around you. But when you try to help people prematurely, guess what happens? You end up falling with them. Because the blind cannot lead the blind. So I hope with these few words of mine, I've been able to convince and not to confuse. But yes, you get what I mean. It is that time where we need to learn how to be balanced again. We need to learn how to understand ourselves, understand ourselves, overstand ourselves. We need to realize that we cannot keep wallowing in the same mess and wonder why we're stained. Get up. Fix it. Don't point fingers at anyone. Fix it. And you fix it by going within. Because the same Bible tells you that the kingdom of God is within you. And he now told you again, seek first the kingdom of God. That means the most important thing for you to do is to know yourself. Because when you know yourself, you know more about what made you. And you understand that you are connected to deities, to ancestral lineages, to royalty, to so much. See, listen, wisdom is endless, but you can tap into it. You don't need any pastor or anybody to come in between you and that connection. It is a connection for you and them. Your ancestors know you because you have the same blood as them. They know you through your blood. It's the lineage. So before you look to somebody else to solve your problems for you, ask yourself, have you spoken to your parents yet? Have you spoken to your ancestors yet? Have you spoken to the deities in your lineage yet? Have you honored them? Do they know you? Do you talk to them? Maintain this communication, this relationship. Maintain it. And you'll be surprised the amount of wisdom you will receive and guidance and protection. You can't get it from anywhere else. And it's free. You don't have to pay a penny. Have a nice one.